Medium term, I'm not smart enough to do that.
Okay, so aside from the dollar then, does that mean that if you are betting on a rebound in the U.S. dollar, does that mean that you also find some equities here in the U.S. attractive?
No. I have not bought any shares anywhere in the world for the past year, except China. I bought it last fall of 2008. Betty, if the world economy is going to get better, commodities are the place to be because there's shortages developing. If the world economy is not going to get better, you're not going to make any money in stocks, but your commodities are still a good place to be because they're printing so much money. Now, by the way, whenever they printed money, it's been good for real assets. And if the world economy doesn't get better, they're going to print even more money. They're going to print gigantic amounts of money. So either way, commodities are the place to be.
Now, can I infer, though, Jim, from your buying dollars and betting on a rebound, that some of that has to do with your concerns that what we've seen in Dubai, what we saw in Greece, and now Spain, that's going to only get worse around the world?
Yes, we're going to have more. I mean, Argentina, Ukraine, I can list you the United Kingdom, the UK, I can list you a whole list of countries that have got serious problems that are going to lead to currency problems and turmoil and maybe a short squeeze on the dollar. You know, in 2008, the dollar went up because everybody had their short. They were squeezed. They had to cover their shorts. If that happens again, well, everybody will have to cover their shorts again, and the dollar will rally. But I hope I'm smart enough, if it happens, that I'm smart enough to sell it.
So do you believe then that in the UK we could see a full-on debt crisis there?
Don't you? Don't you watch Bloomberg? I mean, come on. Yes, I mean, the UK is massive debts, huge debts. No, it's very unfortunate what they've done in the UK.
Okay, well, one of the pieces of news coming out of the UK, though, and partly in relation to all of this, trying to take care of their fiscal debt load, is taxing bonuses.
That's genius, isn't it? That's really going to solve their problems, you know. There are only three or four groups of people in the UK who make money, so we're going to tax the ones and make them leave. And we're going to kill that's called killing the goose that laid the golden egg. I mean, come on, politicians are not very smart people, but this is just another example of how dumb they can be.
You see, Jim, I thought you might actually be supportive of that because you've been very critical of these Wall Street bankers who drive around in their Maseratis, as you said to me many times.
Well, I'm critical of people who get bailed out, who take government money. They should go bankrupt. No. Please do not misunderstand. They should definitely, all of them should have gone bankrupt. It is outrageous that any taxpayer has to pay for these guys to keep their Lamborghinis. No, I've not changed that at all. But taxing people to try to save yourself is not going to work. Now, they should have gone bankrupt. They shouldn't be having these bonuses. But since they do have the bonus, since the government said, okay guys, stay in business, make a lot of money to repair your balance sheets. Well, now that they've done what the government said, now the government says, well, how are we going to tax you? Come on, the government is playing it 2, 3, 4 different ways. I mean, politicians always do. No, it's called duplicity.
So you think that it's wrong for these, for instance, for Goldman, for Morgan Stanley, for JP Morgan, they're revisiting some of their, so not all of them, but some of them are revisiting their compensation policies, and there's a lot of talk about their compensation policies that they need to be changed. And you disagree with that, right?
Listen, I just got through saying that none of these guys should have been allowed to make all this money. It is totally outrageous.
But the reality is
since the government said, all right, guys, go make money, go rebuild yourselves, well, what do they expect them to do? Go down there and not make any money? Is that what they wanted? So, no. They should have been. They said go make money. I said go bankrupt. You failed, you go bankrupt. But now that the government has a different policy, they made money.
Jim,
now, I hardly see how we can fault them for doing what the government told them to do.
Right, for basically following the rules, I suppose.
Listen, the government said, here's free money. You don't have to pay any interest for this. Zero money. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that you can make a fortune. We're going to make the yield curve very steep. You'll make a fortune if you just take this money. Well, so they did it. And now the government's complaining that they did it. I mean, these guys in Washington are even dumber than... Anyway.
You weren't happy with the Bush administration. You're just as not happy with the Obama administration, are you?
No, you? Don't answer. I know you can't. You cannot. No, come on, no. The ones in the Bush administration did horrible things for us. These guys are doing just as bad. Poor Mr. Obama, he doesn't know much about economics or stocks. I mean, he didn't know what a stock was 6 or 7 years ago. And he's got these people around him that he thinks know what they're doing. He's going to find out in a year or two they didn't have a clue what they were doing. He's going to be very sorry he hired them. And so will the rest of us as well.
Jim, and that's why you're still in Singapore.
I'm in Singapore, but Betty, I'm an American citizen. I pay
I
American
know.
taxes. And, I still have to do the same things everybody else does. I still vote in America.
Jim, who did you vote for, by the way?
I didn't vote for Mr. Obama, and I didn't vote for Mr. McCain. How quickly we forget.
Okay, but you did vote.
I always vote, yes. I'm a patriotic, red-blooded American taxpayer. Of course I vote.
Jim, on a final note, of course, I always like to ask you what you're shorting these days. And I know before you shorted banks, you shorted treasuries.
Shorted Fannie Mae. This is one of the few times in my life I have no shorts of anything. I nearly always have had lots of shorts balancing my long. But Betty, I cannot find anything where it's a great excess right now. I don't like to short just to be short. I like to find something where there's an excess. Something has gone to excess. So I have no short. Now, I feel nervous not having any shorts because I always like to think I'm protected. I suspect that the next thing to short will be the U.S. government bond market again. I mean, that's a bubble in the making. And somewhere along the line, I hope I'm smart enough to short it again. But I don't see any other excesses anywhere else in the world.
Some might say China is
plenty. Well, I suggest they sell it short. No, I hardly see how you can say China's a bubble when the economy is 1/10 the size of Europe and the U.S. combined. I mean, what kind of bubble is that? It's still it's growing rapidly. The stock market's down 50% from its all-time high. What kind of bubble is it when something is down 50% from its all-time high? There will be plenty of bubbles in China again, and there may be some right now in Shanghai. Hong Kong real estate's a bubble, yes. There are some bubbles developing in China and in some parts of the world. But China as a whole, sell it short. I mean, that's the answer to that. Just sell it short.
I mean, you really cannot find anywhere in the world here where you think that you could make money in short.
In short? I watch Bloomberg religiously and faithfully to try to find out what's going on in the world, and I have not been able to find anything to sell short. If you know something, don't announce it. You tell me. You tell me, and I'm short, and then you can announce it.
And then I'll be out of a job.
But I'll be rich.